continue to stand and do the pledge.
All righty, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come in the name of Jesus and just thanking you for everyone who's in this building here this evening. And Father, we ask that you would just help us to all make good decisions, make wise decisions, be with our leaders of our county. Father, give them the wisdom that they need to make the decisions for the betterment of our people here in our county. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings that you just continue to bestow upon us each and every day. May we never take them for granted, Father. We just come in your name, asking you to just be with us, give us good directions and guidance. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. If I can have the clerk call roll.
President Hopkins.
Present.
President Coleman.
Present.
President Braddock.
Present.
Present. Approval of the minutes. Need to present a motion for approval of the minutes for February 19th, 2019, and the minutes from the February 22nd, 2019 special meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes presented this evening dated for February 19th meeting in addition to the February 22nd special meeting.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to fiscal matters. Need to present for review a motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, road fund, jail fund dated March 5th, 2019, along with transfers as presented.
I'll make a motion after reviewing to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, road fund, jail fund dated March 5th, 2019, along with the transfers as presented.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 on fiscal matters, present for stop payment check number 26893, drawn on the general fund in the amount of $371.23 made payable to Owen Electric Cooperative Incorporated because the check appears to have been lost.
I make a motion to stop payment on check 26893 drawn on the general fund in the amount of $371.23 made payable to Owen Electric Cooperative because it has been lost.
I'll second the motion.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, present for review Grant County Treasurer cash position report for the month of February 19th. Has everyone had an opportunity to review that?
Yes, sir.
Moving down to an important matter, we have guests, Department of Transportation from District 6. We have Jerry Keith with us and Matt Yeager, and they're going to present before us the 2019-2020 Rural Secondary Road Resurfacing Program in Grant County.
Good, I'll let my branch manager, Matt Arlinghouse, make an introduction, and he'll call Tony,
Okay.
whomever will be around to answer questions.
Well, thank you for having us tonight. My name is Matt Arlinghouse. I'm the branch manager for our preservation and our project delivery and preservation branch, which includes the 8 counties from Carroll County east towards Robertson County. Those all fall within my supervision. Jerry Keith is our section engineer for the office here in Williamstown that covers Grant and Harrison County. Matt Yeager is with him. He's a staff engineer out of that office as well. We're here tonight to present the proposal that we have put together for the fiscal year 2019-2020 Rural Secondary Program. Additionally, just as a note on last year's program, It got let late in the year, so none of those roads have been paved yet, but that completion date for those is June 30th of this year. So we are still technically in that fiscal year from last year's road. So in case I'm heading off, any questions on what happened to the program from last year? It did get let, but it was August, I believe, when those projects were put to contract. And the timing did not allow for those projects to be completed before the end of the season. So those projects will get done before June 30th. And then at this point, I'll let Matt come up and propose the program for this year. And when he's done, we'll be happy to answer any questions about the program or any other items that might be of interest in Grant County here with regard to our state highways.
Thank you.
Matt Yeager, we'll just get into it. So for this year, the state gave us around $900,000 to work on state roads within the county. From that, we're taking out about $350,000 for maintenance, and we've got an extra. We've got about $200,000 just undistributed funds. Take out the county judge expenses and the flex funds for money that we have for sure for roads that we're going to be doing this year. We got about $600,000. So what I plan on doing with that $600,000 is I want to. Last year we let like 60% of Lawrenceville Road that we wanted to do, and this year I want to get the rest of Lawrenceville Road. That'll be about 3 miles almost, going from out where it drops down, goes to that hill all the way over to Kentucky 22. Then with the rest of the money, I want to spend that on Ellison Mount Zion Road, almost the entire road. It'll cost about $440,000. But I mean, if I could, I'd get the last mile of it, but we just kind of ran out of money after the Lawrenceville Road project. Now, if you guys decide to let us have the flex funds for this year, I plan on doing Kiefer Road all the way down to Southern County. We won't have enough to do the whole road, but we'll get about almost 2 miles of it, I think. So if we can, future projects, I want to finish off Kiefer Road if we get the money, or next year we'll just do the whole thing and finish off Mount Zion Road. And then if we have any money left, I want to work on Kentucky 330 down there towards Allen County. And if you've got any questions, concerns, anything,
I don't have my notes with me. I know Lawrenceville Road was the 60-70% of it was let to bid last fall. That, to your point, wasn't completed. What other 1 or 2 roads remaining? I cannot remember. I know that we kept our flex funds, and that we needed to get Bennett Road and Mason done, and we only got Bennett done. Mason still.
Mason, Steve's here.
I
I've talked to
remember.
him on Mason
It was,
Road as soon as the plan opens.
Napoleon?
Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We got that
All the way up
finished,
to, all the way up by Grandin.
Didn't we get the Lebanon finished?
No.
I was gonna say, I didn't think that it did either. Okay.
Neither of those projects have been started yet. I mean, we're supposed, it's gotta be done before the end of the fiscal year, so. We'll just
Yeah.
stay here.
Yeah, they're not done yet, but they've already been appropriated though?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
under contract, both 1993 and 491 are
Yeah.
under contract. I don't remember who the contractor is off the top of my head.
I honestly, Eaton may have one, but I don't recall, but again, June
By June
30th completion on those.
'Cause it was like
Paving
late
companies are
fall.
gonna be busy from
They're
now
gonna be
till
slammed.
June
Yes.
They're
on all
gonna be
these
slammed.
projects.
Getting a lot of work starting back up.
Yes.
More ahead.
Just pray the warm weather comes
Quick.
sooner versus later.
With no rain?
Dry, more importantly.
Yeah, right.
I think that was the main question. I was wanting to just bring you up to speed on what was scheduled to be paid before June, so.
Nothing else?
So are you looking for us to make a decision on item 3 as to whether or not we
Flex funds.
We
we
keep our
want to
flex
retain those, or have you do Kiefer Road? Is that what is in order?
Typically, ultimately, we do need a motion, whether it's this meeting or maybe another working meeting, but we need copies of minutes sent to Frankfurt and all that. But typically what happens is you would approve our portion of the program. You would then consider our routes we're paving with the flex funds versus what your worst routes are in the county. Our superintendents can get together, or however that works, and come up to a decision at that point, whether you feel the money is best spent by keeping the flex funds for your routes or pass those through to us to do the routes.
Jerry, let me ask you, at the bottom of this document, it's got 3 other roads, state routes, Cooper Road, Roanoke Mountain Zion Road, Corinth Road. Okay.
In the future, maybe the 2021 year, you know, unless something deteriorates more drastically, that's kind of where our focus is, just to give you an idea at this point. Not that it will be
Planning.
100%, but that's kind of where we're looking.
Based on what I remember, we would go ahead and approve yours, but then usually we would wait until one meeting to approve whether we wanted to retain the flex funds until the next meeting.
That's right, your superintendent can get with us, and I'll
Yes.
send mine with him, and they'll look around the county and then report to
Yes.
the judge and
Okay.
let you know where he stands in terms of your infrastructure, and then you make that decision and vote.
Sure. And then send you the documentation for the potential, basically 134.
And the sooner, not
Yes.
to rush you, but
No.
the sooner,
No,
then we don't
we'll
have
be
the
on it
lapse in the
quickly.
program.
Yeah, the longer we wait, then we end up in a situation like we did last year, where if it goes too long and gets late in the year,
And the
then
letting gets,
the completion date becomes 2020 instead of 2019, and
Then we
the
keep
contractor
calling you and
gets
asking
busy
you, when are
and-
you gonna do it,
We
right?
can answer these questions again next
Next
year.
year.
Yeah, we needed them fixed yesterday. So
We're-
we're ready to, if there's no discussion, I'm ready for a motion to go on and approve what they've presented tonight.
can we ask
Sure.
Mr. Tatum to see if there's,
It's short of, and Jerry, if I understood you right, we go ahead and make a motion to approve your other 3 projects on the flex funds. What's your recommendation, Steve, on the flex fund?
I'd like to see us keep,
The 134, yeah.
I live on Keeper Road, so.
I was surprised that you're saying that. I was wondering if you were.
You're good.
If the racer's tire is in pretty decent shape.
But we have got. we need
Worse
to,
conditioned roads. Then I'm fine to make a motion that the county retains the $134,156 of the flex funds to go to county road paving and that.
can't do it, we have to be on the street, don't we?
No, you can do it on county, no, you can do it on county roads. That's how,
Okay.
that's how Bennett Mason's getting done.
Okay, well, definitely, we need them
And then you would go ahead and add to the motion for the
to
600,
retain the,
for the state to go ahead on items 1, 2.
1 and 2, they'll move forward with.
Yes.
The only thing that they're seeking a motion on is, do we want to retain the 134,156 to do as we?
You would approve items
Yes.
1 and 2, and to hold the flex funds
flex funds,
for the
yes.
county, and that cleans it up.
Okay,
I
I
make-
can restate that then.
Okay, I make a motion to, based on the allotment provided and recommendations by the Transportation Cabinet, to go forward with items 1 and 2, but to retain item 3 for the flex funds to use on county roads.
Which that would be, so this is the amount that we would have.
Right.
I
I'll
will
second that motion.
Okay, there you go, Roger.
Sean made the motion and Jacqueline second.
Yes, I make,
And you made the second.
Sure.
She started the motion.
And then Shauna took over.
Shauna
I took over.
finished the motion, so Shauna made the motion, Jacqueline seconded. Is that correct?
Sure.
yes.
Okay, Jacqueline seconded. Do I have a second? All in favor, saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Nice, cool night for you all to come out. We really appreciate it.
Well, that's all right.
Is
I
Jerry,
spoke to Matt on that,
uh-huh,
and Jerry. Well, I'll get with them tomorrow. The slippages are not covered. That's all maintenance projects,
That's
right,
more
Matt?
maintenance money. The projects that you're looking at are more capital improvement
Yeah.
projects, widenings, new roadways, stuff that typically goes through the 6-year road plan.
Right.
And typically, unless it's a large-scale slide project that would be multi-million dollars, occasionally you'll see those go through the road plan, but typically maintenance activities are not included on the road plan project.
Yeah, because Chuck and I reviewed this today, and, you know, that's what he'll talk
So
about.
we'd be happy to further explain or meet the.
Because I think what we'd like to know is, as I mentioned to you, we're picking 5 projects. There's a couple, about 2 that's real important, so we're just wanting to see if there's even a possibility of doing the other 2 major projects. I mean, maybe it's completely out of the ballpark, but
This is basically the early stages of the cabinet putting together the road plan for the next
6-year plan.
next year's general assembly when they do the budget again. It seems crazy to think we're
Oh, no.
that far out,
No.
but it's that much
We
planning
have
and
to.
that much programming that goes in to prepare the plan to submit to the governor and the general assembly next January.
if I understand the scoring, it will go to Northern Kentucky Ed District first for their scoring, and then it will go on to the Cabinet Transportation.
Yes,
That's the
Northern
second part.
Kentucky Ed gets a certain number of sponsorships where they can basically say, we want these projects scored. We get a certain number of sponsorships as well, and then ultimately, you know, the goal is for the General Assembly and the Cabinet to put together a balanced road plan. That was the purpose of coming up with the SHIFT process, was to get away from the old road plan where we had $6 billion worth of work and only $1 billion worth of money.
More realistic.
We're trying to get it to where realistic, where we can say, once it's in the plan, it will be done. Where in past years, for the last 15, 20 years, you could say it was in the plan, but you had no idea when or if it was gonna be done, because the needs far outweighed the money. And this last road plan, I believe, when it was passed by the General Assembly, was only over-programmed by like 8%, compared to the past being over-programmed by 6 times the amount of money that was available, so.
And I think we all recognize that all of them need to be done, but I think we've recognized a couple as major things, and one of them is that bypass running parallel on the other side of the railroad
Yeah.
to try to alleviate.
And one of the
Road
things that I
issues.
noticed into the project, it seemed like there was some redundancy.
Yeah, that
And,
list
you know,
had some redundancy.
It did, and then, you know.
And I
when you
think
can
it's in
come-
phases, if I understood right.
Like sections.
Like the one road running from Dry Ridge on the east side of the railroad tracks to Case Lane. I think there's portions of that, so, like small projects of it. It doesn't mention where the bridges would be over the railroad, but, you
Yeah,
know. Then we're willing to look at that, that's
Larger
fine.
projects frequently get broken into smaller pieces because it's difficult to sometimes to program a $30, $40 million project, when you can sometimes more easily get it in $10 or $15 million chunks instead, and work in that direction, so.
On the shift, of course, now the county gives input, but is it mostly your state representative and your senates that give input as to what these jobs will be, or is it coming from the NKADD or the cabinet?
A lot of the projects on that list are coming from our database.
Okay.
We have gotten suggestions from the counties, our
Okay.
elected officials, our state representatives, from our engineers. And really, what the governor tasked the cabinet to do prior to the last General Assembly was to come up with a process that was a little more data-driven, a little more, let's prioritize the roads
Yeah.
and the projects that are most needed. Because there were a lot of projects in the road plan prior to this last time that had been on the list for years and years. And some of them were good projects and some of them were not so good projects that really had never had a chance to make it. Whereas these are scored on a number of different categories, to make them more realistic, and when they make it into the road plan, it's pretty much a promise that they're going to be done in a reasonable amount of time. And our standpoint, we went through our prioritization process this week, and our standpoint is, once it's in the plan, it's in the plan. it got in the plan, it was prioritized on one administration, and then it would slide off on the next administration. We want to be able to say, this road plan means something, and when it gets in there, the cabinet's gonna follow through and build it.
Okay.
And when you put together a balanced plan where you say, we got $1 billion and $1.2 billion worth of projects, now you can pretty much say, we have enough money to build everything in that plan, instead of saying, well, there's $1 billion available, but there's $6 billion worth of projects. That pretty much opens up a situation where you have no idea which projects are gonna be done, and which might linger.
Which, to your point, that has lingered around for a very long time. Prime example, the railroad bridges that have been spoke about for 10 or 12 years and made the 6-year plan many, many, many years ago. But directionally, I think we already see that coming to light, like when it does get presented in this plan, whereas as a Commonwealth, it really wasn't worth the paper it was wrote on in many instances because you could never afford that plan. And so I appreciate it being more realistic.
But if to me, it didn't mean anything if it was in the plan, if it had no hope of being built.
Yeah,
And
agree.
we wanted, the governor wanted our cabinet to get back to where, when we put a plan together,
It's more realistic.
that plan is realistic, and then you could say, if it's in the plan, it's gonna be done in a 6 to 10 year time frame, instead of 20 years, 25 years, maybe never.
Well, the other prime example, that is your Kentucky Highway 22. It's been in the plan, I think, since the 90s.
Yes, and there's a lot that goes into that. There's
Sure.
There's only so much money, and there's a lot of opportunities. and
There's a lot of road, too.
development
Yeah.
Going on, and,
Density, the population.
we're
Well,
slowly working on 20, Owen County is progressing this way with their projects on 22.
So
We're
we'll
getting
start to
close
meet.
we're getting close to building the first section out of Owenston. I believe that's expected to go to construction late this year. So and then the piece after that, I think we're looking at another year or two down the road. So if that's the direction it goes, we'll eventually, hopefully, be able to improve 22 from Owenston all the way to Dry Ridge.
that
You know,
would be a
It may
blessing.
take a little while, but if it can get in the plan, then at least we can hang our hat on it and say, it's gonna be done.
And we do have an HSIP project coming up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna meet with them, in Frankfurt next week on 22, from around the Twin Bridges area all the way into town. They're doing some safety improvements. There'll be some pavement, rehabilitation, some maybe additional signage, and moving some fixed objects and different things through there. So we don't know exactly what's gonna wrap up in that package, but that is something that it's a small facet of.
Hopefully it
It's not a reconstruction, but it.
But that's what I was gonna say, please tell me more reconstruction versus more signs, like, let's fix the actual road.
Well, I can see what we've done in Owen County on 22, that was once a $17, $20 million project. We have scaled it back to where we are widening the lanes, we're widening the
And that's
shoulders.
what it, yeah.
But we're not going in the past what we've done, which was blaze a new trail, and then you're left with a segmented old piece of road and a brand new road, and you're splitting farms and leaving people stuck between both roads. The 22 plan in Owen County kind of follows the existing footprint, just widens it out a little bit.
And straight.
That way, it's still a 2-lane road, but the curves are a little gentler, the pavement's a little wider, it's a little more forgiving for drivers, instead of feeling like you're on a really tight road with one little mistake and you're off the road. Now, the plan with 22 in Owen County is just to beef it up a little bit, make it a little bit wider, a little bit safer, because the traffic volumes don't back up a 4-lane, $20 million project. The traffic volumes aren't gonna support the ultimate improvement there.
I definitely think from Four Corners to Dry Ridge, that highway definitely needs attention. But I just wanted to thank you, Jerry, and the rest of the staff and the folks up at the State Barn. Anytime that we send an email or a text or a phone call, you guys seem to get to it, like our county barn. I know it's a group effort, so I just wanted to acknowledge that, because I know I probably get on your guys' nerves.
It's on mine. It's on
I'll
mine.
pass that along.
So, thank you.
I'll pass along the good.
Yeah, to
appreciate
Pete and to the others, so thank you.
Jerry, thank you. Matt, thank you all. Appreciate y'all coming out.
Anytime you have a question or need anything,
I
We
wear
will.
Jerry out too, I call him.
We like that you're paying attention and focusing on our state projects too.
Yeah. So, well, thanks. If anything you need from us, let us know.
okay, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, the next item on the agenda is, we have Kevin Clinton, but we need to present for a motion to accept the amendment budget for the Grant County Clerk reflecting the CPI increase, which changed the budget amount to the salary for the Grant County Clerk. The county clerk will also present a check for the court for excess fees for all office
I know what you're
collected
talking about.
calendar year 2018.
I'm aware.
Before I get a motion, Tabitha is at the
I
podium.
have to get.
Any questions, or if you want to present?
So, the first thing on the agenda, there was a question before the meeting, do we normally do this? And the answer is yes. We normally have to do this. The CPI is not set until sometime in January, early February, and due to that, my budget has to be approved in December. Because I'm a fee office, we have to make this adjustment so that it is on the record what the budget is. So if you have any questions about the 19 budget, I'm happy to talk about that, but otherwise, I'd love for you to approve that. And then we'll get into 18.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, so the 2018 settlement, I don't have a check for you this evening. I have one fire department that has not cashed their check, and I'm waiting on them to do that. So as soon as they do that, then I can present the final check to you. But I do have the amount, so we'll go through the county clerk's office, just an overview from the last 4 years that I've been in office. We currently, as of today, have 7 deputies and 1 college intern for a total of 8 employees, and that's on the first page for you. So the highest that we've had is 8 full-time deputies and 2 college interns. And the reason I don't call them part-time, they're not truly part-time employees. They're not here every single week working part-time. They're here on their college breaks, and occasionally on a weekend if they come home and they want to make some money, they come in and do some projects for me. So moving on. The year-to-year transaction comparison. So 2018, the transactions that we completed are a little bit reported differently because of the change of the state's program. So the state forced us to go to KBIS point of sale program instead of using our vendor's point of sale program that we had used in-house. When that happened, their reports report out a little bit differently. So it does look like a large number of increased transactions, but it's on par with what we had done in 17, really. But we have to start reporting that way, so I started it so that we have something to compare to the next 4 years while I'm in office. But you'll see deeds from 2017 to 2018 were down, down just a few, not too many. Same with mortgages. That's kind of typical. It looked like we hit a pretty good housing boom in 17, and we saw that fall off a little bit in 18. Marriage license were down, not by many, just by 11 or so there. So title lien statements were also down in 17. Actually, in 16 was our highest year. We did 3,261 title lien statements. And for anybody who is wondering what a title lien statement is, it's when we put a lien on a vehicle or on a mobile home. So in 16, again, we did 3,261, and in 18, we did 2,986, which is evident of the car market. We did see a little bit of downturn, especially towards the end of 2018 for those transactions. So year-to-year budget comparison. This budget was our second highest budget of actual revenue brought in. We brought in $7.1 million. And then the excess fees that we are turning over is down, but we'll get to that in a second. In 4 years, my office has been able to turn over to the fiscal court $184,575.46. Okay, so that's in 4 years, that's what we've turned over. Now, if you'll go to the next slide, this is the one that is probably the most interesting to me. Notable increases. So the 3 categories that I chose to highlight, because those are the things that have went up. We've actually spent less in our office for office supplies. less on other things. These are the three things that have consistently gone up that are mandated that we pay. And that's retirement, Social Security, and insurance for our deputies. So you can see the total amount that we spent in 2015 is $95,966.08. In 2018, that amount went to $187,548.36. So a difference of $91,000. So if you're looking at the excess fees from 2015, and it was $106,000, to 2018, there's the difference. It's in retirement and health insurance. But the one thing that I did want to point out was in 2017, my office decided to go out on our own after much investigation with KCO and different attorneys that we had, benefits attorneys involved. We made the decision to go out on our own. In 2017, by making that decision, we were able to save $12,777.96. In 2018, we were able to save $15,051.01 for a total savings of $27,828.97. So that was in 2 years that we saved almost $30,000. Had we been on the county's insurance this year, you all would have been picking up the bill for our office, which has not happened since I've been in office. The fiscal court doesn't supply anything to our office except for the building and some maintenance in the building. We take care of the cleaning cost, we take care of supplies for the office and all of those things. So I always like to report to you the revenue that you received from the county clerk's office that's paid by our taxpayers. So the first is ad valorem tax on the list. Ad valorem tax is your vehicle tax, MOTAX is what it's also referred to. So in 2018, we collected $237,371.28. Deed transfer tax is a tax that we collect for every deed that transfers, that tax is applied. We collect the deed transfer tax for you. This year we collected $76,814.60. And delinquent property tax is when property taxes are not paid at the sheriff's office, they're turned over to my office and in turn also turned over to the county attorney to collect on payment plans, which our county attorney and I have had several meetings, several discussions about how we can improve collecting taxes. So the delinquent property tax that we collected, if you look at 2016 was the high year. It was $42,956.73. Last year, we only collected $24,194.69, which is a major difference between the 2 years. So if you look at the total there, it'll tell you that in the 4 years that I've been clerk, we've collected $1.2 million in all 3 of those taxes over the 4 years. If you look at the chart, I always just like visuals. I like charts. If you look at the chart, you can see ad valorem tax has steadily grown for the county over the last 4 years. If you look at deed transfer tax, it again coincides with the deeds that were transferred, with 2017 being that spike year where we transferred more deeds, and then it fell off a little bit last year. And then if you look at delinquent property tax, obviously in 2016 we had collected more. The reason that there was more collected in 2016 was that there was a hotel property that sold, and when it sold, the delinquent taxes were paid for that, and it was a large sum of money. That's why there was more that 1 year. It really bumped us up that year. So the next year, we didn't bump up our budget because of that. We went back and budgeted what it initially was because we weren't going to have a hotel property sell again like what that did. So that's why you had that big increase in 2016. So that kind of gets over revenue that we collect for the fiscal court. The last slide that you have is regarding the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives. We received a salary grant for document preservation, and it gives you a breakdown. We've started receiving this grant in 2016. We have been successful in receiving the grant for 3 consecutive years, which is pretty much unheard of in the clerk world. There's a lot of other entities who are vying for that money, but we've been really efficient at getting the work done that we're required to do and then being able to turn back a little bit of money so that we could carry it over for the next year. So that's why we've been able to carry that on for 3 years. I don't think, just because they've done some structural changes to the way that those funds are collected, I don't think that we will see a fourth year in grants. However, I'm not sure that it's necessary. I think we have to maybe look at scanning in our plats and having those available for folks who want to come in and see where their house, where their plat's recorded, and be able to zero in just on their land versus the whole subdivision or the whole farm that they have. So that's something that we're looking at. We will have 30 years of mortgages and deeds available in our software that'll be indexed on a computer and available with an image at the end of this grant cycle in June. So, do you have any questions? I know it seems like a lot of numbers, but I like to give you a good overview of what we've done. So, I will have a check cut. By law, I have to have it to you by the 15th, but as soon as that fire department sends that one through the bank, I called again today.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. So,
Do we
any
know what that
questions?
amount's gonna be?
I'm sorry?
Do we know what that?
Oh, yes, it's on page 2, so, it's $1,229.59. And that's where I was talking about the 91,000 in expenses coming into play with that number. And as all of you here that are on the fiscal court know, but maybe not the audience, the retirement mandates that have been placed on counties has really hit home with all of our budgets. And that number is going to go from about 21% where it is today, and come July 1, it's going to go up to 24, almost 25%, that we're going to be mandated that we have to pay into retirement. And when you look at those numbers, in fee offices especially, there's a lot of county clerks who are struggling to make ends meet. And when we started having the bad November, December, I started doing a lot of research about counties around us. Take Boone, Kenton, Campbell out of the equation of Northern Kentucky because they're really not comparable to us. All of the other Northern Kentucky counties that are in the south with us all receive funding from their fiscal courts, all the county clerks. They either receive, the fiscal court pays their health benefits, they pay their retirement, they get a lump sum of money put into their budget. We're the only one in Gallatin, Owen, Pendleton, Carroll that are still being able to not have any subsidy from the fiscal court. So I take great pride in that, but I also know that there's a reality that's looming. And the only way that a county clerk can generate more money is by fee increases. And I can't automatically increase our fees here. It has to be done by the legislator. And, or they have to give us some reprieve on retirement, one or the other. I don't know what's gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. We know
I
that.
agree, that's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. Yeah, but it's very difficult to make it work, and to make sure that we have, adequate staff, so when you come in, you don't have to stand in line, and that we have somebody in the deed room when you need to find your deed, and all of those things come into play, and especially when we add elections to the mix. So, it is a little stressful, so. Any other questions about this?
Discussion.
Okay, very good. I will ask that everyone here share with someone in their life that we are looking for precinct election officers. So whether you want to do that on Facebook, you want to do it personally to someone, we would love for you to serve as a precinct election officer. Jay was on our board. He understands the struggle that comes with this, but you're going to serve this time, right? Oh, yeah, see, okay. So we would love to have you. There is a mandatory training. We have that the week before the election. The election is May 21st, so it's coming up. And we would love to have some precinct election officers. It is a long day, but it's a fun day. We have some new technology that we'll be introducing with electronic poll books. And I'll be sending out some information to the fiscal court regarding electronic poll books and kind of a status update as we proceed with that. So,
What's that pay?
what does it pay? That's a great question. It's $25 for training and $140 for the day, so $165 total. And Peggy loves to cut those checks.
Tabitha, I just want to say you're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I think Mr. Webb has volunteered to be a precinct officer.
I think so too. I think
Like
so
everyone in
too.
the audience.
Well, I appreciate your sentiment, but it takes a whole team. I couldn't do it without my deputies. It's very trying some days. So if you're coming in March, bear with us. I will tell you, we're shorthanded right now. So we have one who's out ill, we had surgery today, so please keep her in your prayers. But we're also short one because we had somebody leave in January for a better opportunity. So it's hard to compete with Northern Kentucky sometimes when we're hiring and trying to retain employees.
We've experienced that at the jail, but we fixed that problem.
Okay,
He's now
thank you all.
on staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have to make a motion to
Yes.
approve?
Yes, very good
Okay.
motion.
And please make sure you say in whole.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the amended budget for the Grant County Clerk reflecting the CPI increase, which changed the budget amount of the salary of the county clerk, and that the budget presented in whole that we approve such.
I'll second that motion.
For calendar year 2018, sorry.
19.
19, I'm sorry.
2018 and 2019, yeah.
I have a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks a lot, David. Okay, moving down, we have executive order number 2019-08. Present for approval for executive order outlining the responsibilities of the Grant County Fiscal Court and the Kentucky Search Dog Association. You all have had that in front of you if you had a chance to look over it. It's basically just an interlocal agreement between the Kentucky Search Dog Association and the Fiscal Court, what they utilize and what they provide to the county.
I make a motion to approve Executive Order 2019-08 regarding the Grant County Fiscal Court and the Kentucky Search Dog Association.
I will second.
I have a second. Any further discussion on it? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the second reading of an ordinance. If I could have the clerk read that ordinance.
This is an ordinance relating to the amendment of ordinance number 0594-129. Excuse me. Whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court adopted its ordinance number 0893-123 by final action of the Fiscal Court taken December 2nd, 1993. And whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court adopted its ordinance number 0194-125 by final action of the Fiscal Court taken March 17th, 1994. And whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court now desires to amend certain portions of its ordinance number 0594-129. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court, County of Grant, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that ordinance number 0194-125 be amended in such manner that paragraph 4 thereof, which now reads, and that ordinance number 0893-123 be amended in such manner that paragraph 3 thereof, which now reads, that ordinance number 0594-129 be amended in such manner that paragraph 4 thereof, which now reads, that members shall be appointed by the Grant County Judge Executive and confirmed by the Fiscal Court in accordance with KRS 109.115. There shall be 7 members of the Board of Directors who shall serve a regular term of 4 years. On the initial board, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 1 year. 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 2 years. 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years. And 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 4 years. Thereafter, all appointments shall be for a term of 4 years or for the duration of any unexpired term. Members shall be eligible to be reappointed for one successive term of 4 years. The board shall operate under a budget and uniform accounting system as required by law, including the filing and publishing of annual accountings. Now this shall be amended to read in full. Members shall be appointed by the Grant County Judge Executive and confirmed by the Grant County Fiscal Court. There shall be 7 members of the Board of Directors who shall serve a regular term of 4 years. On the initial board, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 1 year. 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 2 years. 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years. And 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 4 years. Thereafter, all appointments shall be for a term of 4 years or for the duration of any unexpired term. Members shall be eligible to be reappointed for one successive term of 4 years. Board shall operate under a budget and uniform accounting system as required by law, including the filing and publishing of annual accounting. This shall be amended to read in full as follows. Members shall be appointed by the Grant County Judge Executive and confirmed by the Grant County Fiscal Court. There shall be 7 members of the Board of Directors and 1 ex officio member who shall be appointed in the same manner, but who shall have no authority to vote on any matter coming before the board, nor counted for the purpose of determining quorum, who shall serve a regular term of 4 years. On the initial board, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 1 year, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 2 years, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years, and 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 4 years. The ex officio member shall be appointed for and serve a term of 4 years. Thereafter, all appointments shall be for a term of 4 years or for the duration of any unexpired term. Members shall be eligible to be reappointed for one successive term of 4 years. This shall be amended to read as in full as follows. Members shall be appointed by the Grant County Judge Executive and confirmed by the Grant County Fiscal Court. There shall be 7 members of the Board of Directors and 1 ex officio member who shall be appointed in the same manner, but who shall have no authority to vote on any matter coming before the board, nor counted for the purpose of determining quorum, who shall serve a regular term of 4 years. On the initial board, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 1 year, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 2 years, 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years, and 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 4 years. The ex officio member shall be appointed for and serve a term of 4 years. Thereafter, all appointments shall be for a term of 4 years or for the duration of any unexpired term. To ensure that experience, institutional knowledge, and expertise is maintained on the board, members shall be eligible for reappointment for additional 4-year terms to the board upon the appointment of the Judge Executive and confirmation of the Fiscal Court. And this, of course, is in regard to the 109 board.
Okay, I know that all of you looked it up. To sum it up, that was back in late 18 when this discussion with the ordinance. I know that Joe Taylor reviewed over it. We've had Stephen Bates, he's put some time in reviewing it. Basically, all that reading summed up that they can be reappointed. So that's, and also what Stephen's done, I commend him. He's cleaned that ordinance up. There was a lot of amendments that were just attached to it. He's created all in one cleaned up ordinance and did some house cleaning. So it makes it a whole lot easier to read what's current. Also, last month when we were doing all the appointments, we were also doing house cleaning up the staggers appointments. So that was the purpose of the reappointments to a lot of the board members, trying to get them to fit the ordinance. So now they're following the ordinance that we've passed previously, and now we're cleaning up the ordinance. So if there's no discussion, if I can have a motion.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2019-0224 relating to certain portions of ordinance 0594129.
I will second.
I have a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, if I could take a call real fast.
Madison Humphrey,
Yes.
Madison Kolar,
Yes.
Madison Riley,
Yes.
and Judge Dale.
Yes. Motion carries. So we're moving down to the department reports. Present for review the Grant County Animal Shelter Report, the Grant County Building Inspector's Report, the Grant County Road Supervisor's Report for the month of February 2019. There's no action required. I know it's all in your packet. You all looked through it. Is there any questions on any of the reports? If you'll notice on the building inspector, it was interesting, I looked and saw a zoo shed, which obviously I assume that was an ark. And then there was also a sloth building, which was also the ark. You don't see those types of structures on the building reports very often.
Office for the keeper,
Yeah.
office for the zookeeper. Zoo shed. Uncle Leroy's is on it.
Anybody have any further discussion on the reports? If not, no action needed. We'll move on down. Judge Executive Report, quite a bit's going on. The main thing I want to report on, as you know, Bobby Newman, our manager, had been serving on the ABC Administrator position for the county. His bond, he had to be bonded separately, unlike myself. And by default, the administrator is the judge exec, so I'm going to assume that role starting now. And for any of you know, the only time we have to approve alcohol license, anything outside the incorporated areas. So we've had one previous one, I've got one that's coming up in Corinth. No more than we have. I'll go ahead and assume that role, and I'm somewhat familiar with the ABC licensing.
Thanks for taking that on.
Okay. I don't have anything to add because I'm going to actually let Steve Tatum talk when we get down to reports. We'll move on to reports. Steve, if you want to report on everything going on, I mean, just bring us up to speed where everyone's at working with GSI and also
Yes, they started on Rainbow Drive Monday, it's in the 3rd district. They are continuing to work on Blanchard Road, Slippy. And they've almost got one of those done. They should get it done this week, weather permitting. And then they start on the other one, which is just a couple hundred feet down the road. And my department's been patching potholes, fixing gravel roads, picking up garbage, and so on, cutting trees. We're staying busy. And then,
You know, and I want to thank you because I know that the managers and myself, as soon as we text you, call you, email you, it's being done within 24 hours. I honestly, I don't know how you're doing it so quick because I know what's out there that needs to be done. So
there's a lot.
I commend your road department.
Garbage picked up on Assembly Church.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Got that taken care of.
Did you get all the other stuff done?
Well, Mike Webster will add to that when he gets.
I am.
I sent Mr. Tatum, like, I sent him a list of like 12 items, and then at the very end, I'm like, I'm really sorry.
Oh, that's nothing, is it, Steve? No.
Part of my job.
Yeah, it is part of your job, and I'm telling you, it's overwhelming right now with all the repairs.
We've got a lot going
So,
on.
you're all doing an excellent job as always.
Thank you.
So, next, Judge Mike Webster's here.
Just real quickly, I got 268 state inmates in-house, 35 county, for a total of 303. We picked up 2 3/4 ton of trash and dump sites throughout the county. That was my county crew. And we did 80 hours of student training in the last 2 weeks. So it's 80 student hours.
Mike, before you sit down, just bring him up to speed on the staffing.
Yes. For the first time since I've been in office, the first time I believe in a long time, we have some openings, but we have more applications than we actually have openings for the first time. So things are really progressing as far as getting help and being able to be selective and work with what applications we have.
Mike, I do have a question on the garbage pickup. Driving around Saturday, I noticed the county roads looked good, but going up and down US
Yes, ma'am.
25,
I've got 2 state crews. The state pretty much decides where they're going. I did address that, and I was told by the lieutenant that works on our state crews that the state aren't as aware of it.
Okay,
They're gonna do that the next little bit. Those crews work in a region. So they
Okay.
go northern Kentucky, they go to Hamilton County and all the counties that they were talking about earlier.
Yeah, because I was just really disappointed in, I mean, our county's looking good, but our state up and down US 25 between
And
Hubbardton
you
and
know-
it's not your fault, I mean,
Well, and I'm gonna have the county crews out there on the state. I was just trying to get some of the other roads.
Well, a lot of it's weather too.
Yeah,
Yes.
every time we, you know, those days we're talking about, I may have had 4 or 5 good days,
yeah,
to work with. So once the weather permits, I think you'll see a lot more.
And Mike, isn't it true that they're down a third crew though too? So you're
Yes.
getting all that done with 2 when
Yeah.
historically there would have been 3 crews, and that will
I'm working
resolve
on
itself in
resolving that.
time.
yeah. I just sort of was disappointed, you know, this weekend when I was traveling, how cluttered the
Right.
state highway looks, so.
But in the state, you know, the state has them doing things in the rest areas and other places
Yeah.
as well.
Okay,
I see him.
We'll- If they don't get it, we'll get it.
okay,
It's just a matter of time.
thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Well, I've known Mike long enough, he won't brag on himself, but I'll tell you, I've been in the jail. It's totally different over there. It has no bad smell. It is a lot cleaner than it was. They've waxed floors. The inmate population's a lot quieter. It's not a lot of ruckus going on. I mean, and that's 30 years ago going in and out of that jail, and I'll tell you, you're making some headway.
Thank you.
So good job.
We transport prisoners, we got prisoners from other counties that come down here are saying, oh my God, there's such a big change in the food, the housing, the grievances, and they're all bragging on Mike about it. You have inmates doing that, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember that they're in jail for a reason, but also they have to be treated as humans.
That's right.
And it's not our decision, the Department of Corrections monitors it, Department of Justice, which was the whole issue with the staffing on the floor for safety, and you're in the right direction. We've got a job to house these prisoners, and to protect them, so, good job.
Thank you.
Sheriff Brian Maines is currently at the Cricket Council meeting, so Chief Deputy Todd Cummins is here if there's anything you want to.
We did get one of the cruisers that we've been promised for since August of last year. That is at L&W, however, they are 30 to 60 days to putting it together. But they did say that they would do their best to try to speed that through for us so we can, because I told them we're literally sharing police cars right now. We just we don't have any. So that's on the way. When I asked about the other 3, the response I got was, they're sitting on a loading dock somewhere. I said, where, in China? I don't know where they are.
What is
because
it,
they're
Chicago, is that?
not. Chicago, I think. He said, that was last week. He thought they'd be here this week, but so far we haven't got a call saying they're there. But we are moving that direction. Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we can have that other vehicle done. They did promise they would try to get it through there for us as quickly as possible. But like I said, we're sharing cars right now because we just simply don't have any. We've purchased body cameras. Most of the officers are wearing those on a trial basis right now. Sheriff and I are working on the policy, getting that implemented and getting that out. I've got a link set up for the county attorney to be able to go in and view those body cameras on their own. I also have a link set up for the commonwealth attorney to be able to go and view those body cam videos on their own. So right now the guys are, kind of experimenting with them, testing them out, recording videos. So we are starting that project. I think it's going to be really good. The cameras, I think we've got a great deal on. I think the guys like them. They're simple to use. They have great video and great audio. So it is something that we're working towards. Hopefully in the next month, a couple weeks, we'll have that fully implemented and everybody will be wearing body cams every day when they're out working shift, working the road. Other than that, we've been busy.
Well, just to add, they had the cruiser that was hit by the gentleman they arrested for drugs. He pulled out, struck the cruiser and crippled it. It was on the borderline of totaling. Any other time we'd probably totaled the cruiser because on the borderline, but because they have no cars, the insurance company was able to work with the body shop and they're fixing the vehicle.
Because it was a newer one.
It's 2012 or 13, so it's one of our newer trucks.
Newer
Yeah.
cars, but yeah, when you have no cars, you do what you gotta do. And it wasn't that it shouldn't have been fixed, it's just because of the value of parts, they were able to, work something out with the body shop to get it fixed, so hopefully they'll have that done soon.
Well, I'm hoping in 2 weeks we'll get the truck and that car back, is
Yes.
the ultimate goal here.
Any questions for Chief Deputy Cummings?
Thank you.
Oh, one other thing. I'm teaching a different drug awareness program this year. I taught DARE last year, teaching STAND this year, which is Students Against Narcotic Addiction. I'm finishing up, I'm in Dry Ridge, Williamstown, and Mason, which I'm finishing this week. Next week I will start Sherman and Crittenden. So it'll be a total of about 450 students that we will put through this program this year. And it focuses solely on there's 6 lessons. There's an alcohol lesson, tobacco lesson, a marijuana lesson, a heroin and fentanyl lesson, a crystal meth and methamphetamine lesson, and then a ways to be in charge lesson. So it's just something that I really feel strong about it. When Judge was the sheriff and Ron was the chief deputy, we decided to start this. It's like I tell my kids, my STAND kids now, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have of why not to do something, the less likely you are to do it. And I've told them, in 2 years we'll have taught 1,000 kids. By the time they're juniors in high school, this class we're teaching now, the ones above them and all the ones below them will have had this. So we'll battle this drug addiction problem together as a county and as young people growing up, having the knowledge. It's been sugar-coated, so I don't sugarcoat. I'm more of a ask me, I'll tell you. And that's what I tell them, and it's appreciated. And I've got the schools really enjoy it, the kids seem to enjoy it. So just something we're continuing to do and work on that program.
2 questions. What grade are you teaching that to?
5th grade.
5th grade. And then second question, what support do you need from us as a governing body to continue that effort? Because for a very long time, that hasn't happened, and it was very pleasing when you guys reestablished that.
Last year we were able to get the money to buy
the books.
My goal is to buy T-shirts and a mascot. They write an essay, is what they do. So I pick the essay winner from each class, and they get what is now Leah, which is a drug interdiction dog. She's a German Shepherd. So they will get Leah, and the goal is to get each of them a T-shirt. So last year we were able to get that done. I've talked to the sheriff about putting it. I mean, it's going to cost anywhere between $5,000 and $6,000 to get all of that stuff done. So it's a matter of just finding that money inside our budget this year and hopefully putting it in a line item in its own self as a drug awareness program in the next budget that you'll get from the sheriff.
And is there opportunity for the T-shirts for us to help identify sponsors that, like
Last year, we was able to get Dana. Dana was a big contributor for the portion of the
We
shirts.
haven't approached them this year, but it's a different program. That's the issue I have. I teach it. I go teach each school, and it's just a matter of getting them the shirts and cause they really like the stuffed animal. Leah is the drug interdiction dog. They really like her, and they fight over who's going to get Leah first. Like that.
My daughter's in the 5th grade at Williamstown, and she tells me when she comes in on Fridays when we teach class there that, all this that she's learned not to do with drugs. So, it's sad that we have to start at an early age, and, I could foresee this program going a little bit further down the line with 2nd graders.
I
That's
hope I don't
sad.
gotta go that low down. I really don't.
No, but it's,
They're exposed to it.
yeah, and that's why it was important to get this program back, because once they get high school age, the numbers of making a difference is slim.
Well, I'm also doing follow-up. Like this year to start out, I went and did a survey for the 5th graders I had last year, who are now 6th graders, of what my goal is, and the goal with the STAND program. It was actually created by Erlanger Ellesmere, which is where I retired from, so going and getting it from them was no big deal. What we want to figure out is when that switch gets flipped, when it becomes not taboo to do this, or when it becomes where they think, it's not as bad as they've led me to believe. And I don't know where that's between 7th and 8th grade, between 8th grade and freshman year. So every year I will do a follow-up. Like next year I will do a 6th grade follow-up, and I will do a 7th grade follow-up to see how their opinions have changed. So it's an ongoing thing that we're gonna do for the next, for forever, well, as long as I can do it, as long as we wanna do it. So just to see where that goes and when their opinions change, and you'd be amazed at the number of fifth graders who know what, when you're talking about heroin and overdose to death, the number of hands that go up, that their family has been affected by that. And, you know, it's a sad situation when you hear that, but that's even the more important reason to continue this program, whatever the cost is. $6,000 is not that much money to educate kids on why not to do those things so we can battle this drug addiction nationwide. So.
That's less than we spend in a week on a couple inmates.
Incarcerating them.
Yeah, incarcerate them, so.
But we're working on it. We're doing
Thank
Pay it
you.
up front. Okay, Tabitha spoke. We have Tabitha in the audience. Also, Eli's our other elected official. I mean, not putting you on the spot, just recognize you're here. Our county treasurer, Peggy, do you have anything to speak on, Peggy? Okay, we'll move right on down out of, with that to magistrates. And do we have a cover touch base on?
No, just standard meetings throughout the community and keeping up with the roads and just certain projects, but nothing major to report. We'll head to training tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, a spring conference for magistrates. And to Judge Dill's point, it's just been, very busy, and frankly, it is very pleasing to have the opportunity to work with other elected officials in various capacities, where we are, we're on month 3 now, just continuing to move this ship in the right direction. So through proper communication, through text and emails and meetings, I feel very thankful to continue to serve in this role, and there's just a lot going on.
I'm going to update on the Bridging Kentucky. We did receive a letter from Royce Meredith. He is the engineer from the Kentucky Department of Transportation Cabinet. He is letting us know that there is 3 bridges now that are being let out for bid on March 22nd. It's actually the rehab of Kentucky 22 Bridge over Rattlesnake, the rehab over Kentucky 22 Bridge over Eagle Creek, and the rehab of Kentucky 22 Bridge over Clark's Creek in Baton Rouge. They did say that 1 lane will be maintained during the construction by the phasing of the work, so it won't alter, drive-through traffic. In addition to that, as Jacqueline said, that we are having a conference this week, and we've also been invited by Governor Bevin to, he is going to speak with us tomorrow. I drove quite a bit of the roads on Saturday, and it's just phenomenal the amount of work that we've got to do on county roads, and to be able and blacktop this one and blacktop that one. I don't know if we're going to be able to do like a full blacktop of a road at a time. So I don't know if we're going to have to go with like cutout measures to do the worst sections first, but I think it's something that we're going to have to talk through. In addition to that, and lastly, I met with a gentleman today by the name of Mike Wolf, and he is head of the optic planning here in Grant County. And we've relatively got a lot of places in Grant County that have eligibility for optics. So if you're interested in it, what I urge you to do first is get on the Cincinnati Bell website and put your address in. It will tell you if it is available to come to you. And then if it is, call them and set up an appointment, and they should be able to come and hook you up. In addition to that, this year, there's going to be a section of Dave Road, Lemon North Cut. In the south end of the county, we've got Baker Williams, we've got Turner Road. There's a few more customers that's going to be connected over around in Elliston, Mount Zion, and Napoleon Dike Station Road. So I was glad to hear that update and them moving along. There's still a lot more on the books, but they haven't been offered into the phase of construction yet, so they could not give me any time limits on that. And as I say, these are projected. Some of them is, I think Lemon North Cut is even being started within the next week or so. So that's all I've got.
District 3, we've Again, just looking at the roads and getting in with Steve and whoever we need to get with in the county. And the response has been great. Again, within 24 hours, we get a response, and most of the time, issues are addressed and repaired within 24 to 48 hours. So it's been good. We all know the weather's been horrible. I don't see it getting any better.
Be optimistic. One more week, just one more week.
One more week. We're gonna snow this Friday and 60 degrees Sunday, so it's interesting.
No wonder why we're all sick, huh?
Yeah, but things are going good, and again, touching base with people in District 3 and across the county. Everybody has been very, very positive, and that's what I like to see, is being very positive, and the openness and the transparency. If we can help in any way, please let us know.
Thank you, Roger. Moving down, anybody else have anything here? Moving down to citizens' address. Anybody in the audience want to speak? Debbie?
Just really quick, speaking of Baker Williams Road, we have indeed got a whole bunch more people on the road, and they are going way too fast. The equipment and stuff, you know, like the heavy equipment, we've got ruts that are 2 feet deep on both sides of the road. A friend of mine was run off the road this morning, put 2 huge scratches down the side of her pickup because they ran her into branches on the road. It's really dangerous. And I mean, they're flying, it's people, they're not from there, so they drive faster and they drive down the middle of the road, and the people that live there try to get over, but they keep coming over top of us. And I don't know, I'm afraid that the ruts are going to mess it up in the spring, because I don't know what we're going to do. I've got road frontage, and I mean, those things are huge. And it's the big trucks, they run off the road and they don't slow down, the concrete trucks, and then people that have the trailers and everything on it. And we was just wondering, is there any way that could have the sheriff's department maybe kind of run down through there a few times, keep an eye on it?
Some of the big trucks, Debbie, is the GSI going out to Blanchard?
I think some of those are that. I see I'm 800 feet off the road, so I don't see it a lot of times.
Yeah.
But now, one of the neighbors was talking about that it's big, it's like those kind of trucks. They didn't mention who it was.
That road's not lined up for 2 cars, much less 2 SUVs.
Exactly. I've lost 2 mirrors off of trucks for that, so I keep them tucked all the time.
GSI doing the work on Blanchard, which that's the route they're traveling.
Right.
Because there's no bridge to go across.
Right, and it's been this way for 3.5 months now, and you could visibly tell, and speaking with the road department too, you can just visibly tell where people are running off the road, because that's the only way out of there. And so it's heavily traveled, so you've got all the FedEx trucks, the UPS trucks, and then the construction trucks, and then just the citizens. And I think the only thing I could offer up is, as our sheriff's department is traveling, if we could just, try to have a presence. But the reality is we're going to have to catch people, quote, speeding, and maybe word will get around to slow down.
Yes, well, some of the relief would be when they're done with Blanchard, when GSI's done, that'd be some relief. The other relief is when the state's done with the project on the connector road, which that road is not designed for that type of traffic.
And we understand, everybody that lives there understands that, but it just gets really frustrating when you see your property ruts getting deeper and wider all the time, and it's going to mess the road up. It's going to mess the road up in the spring too, because they're taking it away from the road itself. The roads are going to fall off, and you're going to have like pavement gravel. So it's going to cause problems in there too. But it's kind of scary.
It's on that road. After GSI gets finished.
Right. But if y'all could kind of run, if the sheriff's department kind of run down through there a few times, because
Yep, when they go 330 and Layton Chapel. And
Right.
Send it out to the deputies.
yeah, Layton Chapel is even worse.
Oh, it's even bad. It's
Yeah,
worse.
it's horrible. I mean, it's barely half a mile long, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we are now adjourned. And just for acknowledgement, we will be having our next court meeting, will be held on Tuesday, March 19th, 2019, at 6:30 p.m. here in the courtroom. Thank you all for coming out tonight.